you pick a partner you can trust to select and deliver the technology your business needs in a world where everyone is telling you that theirs is the best? Well, today we have an answer. Hello, everyone. Today we have a special guest on Druid Talks. Alan is the CEO who believes in simplicity and business outcomes. Alan, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Kieran. Yourself?
Really good, really good. We're nearly at the weekend, so let's see how we can get through today to get there and earn the rewards of rest and no email, or as you and I were saying earlier on, no rest and even more email. Alan, for those who don't know you, would you mind telling the audience a little bit more about you and a little bit more about fractional execs as well, please?
Sure. So I'm Alan Giles. I'm the CEO and founder of a small company called Fractional Execs. I've been working fractionally for a little while, and for those who don't really know what fractional is, it's more of a portfolio type way of working, where you give small amounts of time to lots of companies, really become part of their company. It's a bit different to consulting, where you go in and you give advice. A fractional goes in and actually executes on the advice given. So really get under the covers of the company. When I came to market as a fractional exec, I was looking for a multidisciplinary group of fractionals that I could work with, and I couldn't find one. So I started the UK's first multidisciplinary fractional organisation. Today we have 35 fractional execs from disciplines across the C-suite. We have 25 partner companies offering both solutions and services. One of those solutions being Druid. We've been around for a couple of years, and I like to describe us as a startup for startups.
Fantastic. I love that. And I love what you're saying there around being a fractional exec, having to deliver what they're proposed, which is very often what consultants do not do, which can lead to the odd query at times, I think.
It does, and really, if, in a nutshell, to describe the difference between a fractional executive and a traditional type of consultant. A consultant will arrive and do all the great things that they do, but they leave having added to your to-do list. Whereas a fractional exec comes in and does all the great things that they do, and they tick off the things that have been done. Because they actually execute on the plan that they agree with you. So there's quite a distinct difference.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive straight in and ask some more questions to see where we can learn from some of that advice and some of the work that you have done, Alan. What's the best strategy that you would recommend others to get value from investment in AI or indeed any technology?
That's an interesting question. That's something that's quite close to my heart. We work almost exclusively with technology companies, whether we're helping build their business or whether we're making recommendations of how they can get their next period of growth. And quite often technology is part of the answer. And we see lots of companies where they've implemented tech, or they're suggesting that they're going to implement tech, but they're not quite sure why. There's a lot of shiny magpie type behavior out there, and I always encourage people to focus on the business outcomes. What is it that you actually want the tech to do? How's it going to affect what your strategy is, and will it support your business goals and strategies that you hope companies are constantly updating and keeping on top of? So there's a lot of hype, and particularly around AI at the moment. Everybody believes they know what AI is. And I think the amount of people that know A to Z of AI are, you can count them or put them in a very small room. The exposure most people have to AI is by playing with ChatGPT, and then they become an expert. But I think tech is part of the answer, as I said, and you need to understand what it's going to help you with. How it's going to help support your strategy, how you're going to combine that tech with other things that are happening across your business. I personally, when I'm looking to implement tech in my business, and this might give you a clue as to, I'm quite frugal by nature. I like to get the most bang for my buck. So I look at tech that's going to affect more than one area of the business. And thankfully, in the market today, there's lots of tech that supports multiple parts of your business. and you see lots of interesting bundles being put together. So, yeah, I would always look to support your business outcomes, support as many people as possible with enabling technology, not just point solutions, and constantly look at what it's delivering for you.
Yeah. I really like what you're saying there, not buying a point solution and buying something that can sit on top of everything else and allow you to navigate it, particularly in a conversational way these days.
Sure, absolutely.
How would you build a business strategy these days then, with all of the technology, all of the change, and all of the things that are happening in the world? It's getting harder and harder. What would you do to build a business in 2024? What advice are you giving people?
Back to that being a fractional exec, we actually did build a business in 2023. One of our clients is a company that we built from the ground up and took to market, and they're doing very well now. For me, it starts with the people. You need to have a good team to start with, and when you look at the people that you've got and the people that are executing for you, I think what starts to happen is the culture of your company starts to leak out of those people. And I think getting your values, your vision, your mission nailed early on, that will help you set the culture that you want to hire into. And as you grow your business, inevitably tech becomes part of that, but the people come first. And it's growing a business today is pretty difficult. Things are very, very fluid. There's so much advice you can get, and there's so many pitfalls that you can stumble across along the way. And I think I always try to advise people, when you're looking at the people you want to surround yourself with to build your business, shoot for the top. Try and get the most experienced, the most energetic, those that have been there, seen it, done it before, and you won't go too far wrong. Now, a lot of small businesses, they think that they can't afford, real high level excellence, but actually that's where the fractional way of working comes in, because by hiring a fractional exec, you get access to expertise and experience, but the very word fractional, you get them for a fraction of the time, which means you get them for a fraction of the cost. And actually you don't have that additional social cost of hiring people. You don't get the fringe that comes along with it. You don't pay their healthcare. You don't have to pay their NI. They take care of that all themselves. But it does mean, and because they're very flexible, you get them for the amount of time you need them. If I use a good example is the CFO role. Not many people can convince me that small and medium-sized companies need a full-time CFO, but they will inevitably need the expertise that a CFO brings for part of their corporate journey, whether it be funding or mergers and acquisitions. You really do need a CFO type profile. So why not go to the market and get the type of profile you need for the time you need it, rather than having a full-time hire. And that's really how I advise people to build their business, is look at what they need and when they need it and go and get it. Now, fractionals are not too sniffy. You take a fractional on for 3-4 months and then say, you've served your purpose, I want somebody else now. They'll help you find them, and then they'll back out gracefully and everybody's happy. And so I think you can do it. You can build a business quickly. We grew a big business in a little under 6 months, and then helped them get their first client, which was Google, which is amazing. And yeah, along the way, there's obviously investments in technology to help support the people that you put in place. But for me, the starting block is always good people.
Well, you mentioned a moment ago some of the attributes you wanted in people, but let's elaborate on that a little bit more. How do you pick great people and technology and then put them together?
So in my experience, great people are users of technology anyway. They see the benefits that technology bring to the party, but they don't totally rely on the tech. So technology for me, I use it every day. We all do, right? But it's an enabler. It doesn't replace what I do. It just enables me to do more of what I do quicker, more efficiently, possibly more accurately. But it's people that are used to tech typically end up becoming, I'll take that back. People that are very good at what they do in their function typically have embraced technology along the way. So I think there's a nice meeting of the experience that you get from somebody alongside knowing which tools are going to enable them to be excellent.
Well, if we take one of those tools and we talk about generative AI infused conversational AI, how do people or businesses get value out of that, Alan?
I think this comes back from the consumer, and I use the word consumer deliberately, the consumers of our services. We are, as employees and employers, we're acting far more like we do in a consumer area. We're expecting that technology is there to assist us with everything we do. If you think about what we do in our personal lives, the way we shop, the way we bank, the way we travel, we expect technology to lead us, and we just interface with technology at all parts of that. Who would have thought that 10 years ago that the shopping experience would not involve another person? You go shopping and you only interface with tech. I'm happy to go shopping in the middle of the night and not see a soul, and that's become the norm. That's how we live our lives now. Being able to get access to services any time of day or night, and understanding that we really live in a global village now. Our customers, whether it be customers of Druid or customers of Fractional or customers of the Shell garage over the road, they expect to be able to get what they want when they want it and when it's convenient to them. So I think generative and conversational AI really, really does help by extending the business outside of what is a traditional time of work and allowing people to consume your services and your solutions when they want. And customer is king. It doesn't matter what sector you're in. The lifeblood of our businesses is the customers that we sell to. And so we should enable them to consume our services and solutions when it's convenient to them. And and I think AI and generative and conversational AI is key to that. Particularly when I, as a user of that tech, until around about maybe a year, 18 months ago, one of my biggest frustrations was chatbots. I, as a user of tech, was really, really frustrated. I would come off many websites and then choose not to fulfill what I went to that website for because of the experience of chatbots. And a lot of companies, I think, were suffering from that apathy that the customer base was feeling. And my heart would sink when that little thing would open on the right-hand side, because I'd be, oh, okay, what's this going to be like? But it's got better as the tech has got better. The experience has become better. Whether it be interfacing with my bank, I haven't been to my bank branch for years. Now I feel like I'm talking to a human because the bank has embraced decent technology rather than giving me a computer says no experience.
It's interesting there. If we just pick apart some of the things you said there, I think people have the word chatbot in their heads, but they maybe haven't realized that chatbots then got AI, which made them far, far better. And then when they were given generative AI, now all of a sudden it is a human-like experience.
Yes.
And then as you described there a moment ago, Alan, I don't know if there is such a thing as traditional working hours anymore, because everything is blurred so dramatically that to actually put traditional hours into a business, I think that would cause people probably to react violently to your service, as opposed to what you were saying, which is seamlessly being there when the customer wants to engage with you, no matter the day, time, night, or again, the device or medium.
No, I agree. And as well as from that customer perspective, if we look internally into businesses as well now, the way people work is changing. And I would say in some cases has changed, not just changing, it has changed. One of the hangovers from COVID and the fact that we were all working from home and everybody was locked up, is that people saw in many cases, particularly in the service industry, that they could do their job anywhere. You know, and everybody's heard the stories of people sitting on a beach in Jamaica and working, right? But it happens, and why shouldn't it? Now, AI tools are helping with that, and the way that we work has changed. I think personally, I feel for the better. I've embraced the change. I'm not sat at my desk all day, every day. However, I am working more and more effectively than I ever have, and that's down to using tech and the way that tech has improved exponentially over the last 2 to 3 years. It races forward so quickly.
Yeah, it says, as someone once said, it's as exciting as it is scary. Talking about tech, why did you choose Druid as your tech partner?
So it'll be about a year ago, actually. I had a customer, a client that was asking me what we were doing in AI. Very common question that lots of business owners kind of flounder around with. And I asked them, you know, what was the root of the question? And they said, well, we'd be interested in doing X, Y, Z. And actually, it was a customer services use case. They had the old traditional chatbot experience, and they were looking for more of a virtual assistant, more of a human like experience. So I explored the use case with them and went out to market. Almost partnered with another company, and when we really got down to the nuts and bolts of what they were doing, it wasn't as mature as I had hoped. And actually, I didn't want to put my name and my company's name to that piece of tech. The customer is a customer I've known personally for 15 years, and they've in the past relied on my ability to go and find innovative tech to help them do things differently. And I felt that I'd be failing them and actually failing our company if I'd have supported the use of this other tech. So I went back to market and started looking again, and an old business colleague of mine had just landed at Druid, and I started looking at Druid, and the more I looked, and I had a fantastic demo. Wasn't quite sure what use case I wanted to be shown to me, but Andrea gave me an amazing demo and covered off more things in an hour than questions I could have thought up of in 3. And it was terrific. And I got off that call, and I thought, that's a company that I think we want to work with. And all the way through, the tech just screams out that it's professional, it's enterprise ready, it's something you can rely on. So, you know, at the back end of last year, we managed to get a partnership agreement in place, and delighted about it we are.
Fantastic. It's funny, you and I probably have seen lots of technologies over the years, and we've probably seen more technologies that don't work than do work. So when you land on something that truly makes a difference in a business, and you're right, it is about your reputation. Not only, you know, you want to put your name to something that genuinely benefits the client and their clients, then it really matters what you actually pick.
So we take the same approach to the technology that we present into the market as we do to the fractional executives that we take on board. All handpicked, all personally vetted. Much like the tech, we really try and get under the covers, and we try and stress test it. We try and look for reasons that it might not work, and we couldn't find that. And as I say, we do the same with the resources we put into companies, because it matters. You know, for a small company, I mentioned we're a startup for startups. That brand recognition, but the brand quality and the reputation is paramount to us. You don't get many chances if you get things wrong in a small business, because it hurts. So before you place your bets, you really want to do your research, and that's what we did with Druid, and it's been great.
Fantastic. Alan, to finish off, What's the best business or career advice you were given that you would now share with other businesses or other business leaders?
I was gonna share something else, but I won't. I'll keep that for another day. A couple of things that have always followed me. One that resonated from very early on in my career was the whole, keep it simple, stupid, KISS. And I think a lot of people can be guilty of overthinking. I think that you need to give yourself time to think. And I personally make sure I do this. I carve out time to just think about where we are, what's the current state of my business, and where are we going. And that latter part, that where are we going, is obviously quite dynamic, because the market's quite dynamic. But rather than just blindly follow a path, because I said that I would do that last month or last year, I think it's really important to give yourself the opportunity to think and actually be able to pivot. It's the beauty of being in a small company is that you can make change quickly. And so I always think that if you can give yourself that time and don't be scared to change, it's not a failure to turn around and say, okay, well, I did make that decision, but actually things have changed and that's proven to be wrong. Change it. You're in charge, right? You're the boss. You can make change. And that's one of the key things for me is keep it simple, don't overthink, but give yourself time to think. The other thing that I think is really important is partnerships, collaboration, working with others. It can be quite lonely working in a small business and thinking that you've got to do everything on your own. I see very few small businesses that make a roaring success of things without collaborating with others. And I'm very much a believer in the 1 + 1 = 3 approach to collaboration. It's rare that you put two companies together and you don't see better things happening, unless ego gets in the way. One of my favorite testimonials that I've had from a client is at the end they did a video testimonial like this, and they said, with fractional execs, what you get is you get expertise without ego. And that I never prompted it. I was delighted with it. I'm using it a lot now, by the way. But for me, I think if senior people sometimes can get out of their own way and actually look at how they can help others, that comes back to them, and then you start to see the collaborative effect of working in partnership.
Well, building on that, then, one of me and one of you, let me try and do a very simple close, which is to say thank you, Alan, for an amazing podcast. And if I'm taking anything away today, it's that if you do keep it simple, if you do keep it honest, if you put your reputation quite rightly on the line in front of your clients and remove your own ego, you pick the right people and you pick the right technology, then you will succeed. As long as you're willing to change. Alan, thank you so much indeed. That is fantastic. I wish you and fractional execs all the best. And thank you to everyone for listening in to this edition of Druid Talks. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.